So we did a video the other day on how to strip the back of the front seats on the Range Rover L322, and if you want that link, that's there. But then we've had a few questions come in and saying, well, what about the heated seats? Can you help us fix the heated function on the seats? Now, lucky for me, my heated seats work. So, but we'll take the seat out and we'll see if we can work out where the heated pads are. But first I thought I'd go through a couple of things. So, right, what is supposed to heat on your seat and how do you control it? So firstly, this bottom area here, in the middle sort of there, heats, and the back bit, but only this bit, this top bit here doesn't get hot. So that's what you're meant to have heating. And you turn it on by these buttons here on your dash. Now most of you will know this, but while I'm doing it, let's show you. Now you may not have that. Okay, so you should have this little picture here of a little heat, of a little seat, and this is supposed to be flames coming off it, which I guess is heat. And then if you press it once, you get the 2 dots, which is full power. You press it again, 1 dot, half power. You press it again, and you've got no heated seats. This dial around the outside is the cabin temperature, nothing to do with the... You cannot change the temperature of the seat. It's on, well, other than it's on full power, half power, or off. Now, let me go and jump in our other Range Rover and I'll show you what it looks like if you haven't got heated seats. Okay, so we've jumped in our basic model Range Rover L322. Everything's the same. You've obviously got your temperature around the outside, but you'll notice you've got nothing in the middle here. Now, what we could do is we could look at fitting heated seats in this car. And it may be just a question of changing this control panel and, right, hold on, changing the control panel and obviously fitting heated seats. I think the wiring's already running under the seats, and I think the fuse box is in the seat. So we'll have a look at that. Right, let's get back to our other car. Ah, that's better. We're back in the luxury of our supercharged now. Right, so the interesting thing, right? First thing, you have heated seats aren't working or you've got a problem with them. That's probably why you're watching this video, not to listen to me. Right, fuse. First thing to check is your fuse. So if you pull down your glove box, and that just pulls straight down, hold on, let's do this properly, innit? Just press the button, release it, and then there's a little secret hidden panel at the back there that if you pull down, push the 2 tabs. Now if you look on here, it's got all the secrets. Most of you guys know all this. It's got all the secret thing. Now if you just point out the one there, so it's just above that Land Rover logo there, and it's a 25 amp. Now what's it surrounded by? Is it the only 20?
So it's the bottom row. Yeah. You've got a series of 5s, a few 15s, then a 10 and a 25.
A 25 all on its own.
And 25. It's a 25.
So the first thing you can do is check that. Now the interesting thing is, if you watch this, I've got the ignition on, you can still turn on the seats, you see. So it's still, so the fuse is controlling the, you've got a fuse for the sort of dash area. So you might think, well look, the heated seats is coming on. Oh, hold on. It was coming on, there we go. So you think everything's okay, but actually your fuse could have blown. So check your fuse. Our fuse is good, but our seats are working. But that'll be the first thing to check. So the other thing to check after the fuse is there is apparently, now we can't get this to work on ours, but I'll show you what should happen according to the workshop manual. So apparently it's got a self-diagnosing fault finder on here, which will tell you if the fault is with the temperature sensor or the heating circuit, and we'll discuss a bit more in the video later on what that is and how that works and how that's connected. But apparently if you press this button here while turning the car on to the second position, so don't start it but get it so all your dash powers up and everything, and then let go, and apparently if you wait 10 seconds then you will get some flashing pattern. And it will tell you, depending on how it flashes, it will tell you what the problem is. And we'll put a little link in the comments below that sends you to the workshop manual that explains that. Right, so that's the 2 checks you can do. The fuse, the self-diagnostic. Now, it may be the earlier cars without the screen that feature works, but it's not having it on our car. So now let's have a look at how to remove the seats. Now, I'm pretty sure if you had a look at this, Ian, you've got a...
No, I'll go forwards first, I think.
Go forwards, is it? Whoop.
Yeah.
There we go.
So you want to move it forward so we can get to the rear bolts.
Rear bolts.
And we want to do this before we disconnect the battery, or else the electric seats won't be able to move.
True. I'm liking that. Yeah, now, because in the seats we've got some airbags somewhere, I'm guessing, Ian, have we?
Yeah,
Must
so
have.
At some point we're going to have to disconnect the battery.
Because otherwise it's going to get all a bit upset, generally. Right, so what do you reckon? There we go, so we've got some nuts there. So we'll get these loosened, just to make the video a bit quicker. But basically, you've moved the seat forward. You've got one there and one the other side, have you?
Yeah.
Does it look the same the other side?
Yeah, same size.
So we'll get those. We'll get those, and then we'll.
There are 60.
Then we'll move it back, but we'll join you again when we got those out. Right. So Ian's taken out the bolts. They're 2 bolts, like so. Here we go. And yeah, the next one to do is the one on the back of the seat belt. So you can see the seat belt here. And there's a bolt on the back that holds this bottom fixing. Alright, so we've got Ian on that, and that's the same side. So yeah, it was a 16mm socket you need to do that. Let's have a look at that bolt. I'm guessing he's going to be shorter. Alright, and so there we go, that's the thing. And there we go, that's a much shorter bolt, as you can see there, that goes through that little clip there. That goes into the... There's a captive thingy in there. Right, good. So that's the back done. So should we slide him forward now? Backwards. Yeah. Goodness me, I don't know backwards and forwards. Here we go.
Oh, a lengthy process.
Yeah. Oh, this is fascinating. YouTube, watching a seat go back. If someone's partner comes in now, they're going, what are you watching? Right, and what sort of fixing do you reckon that is, Ian?
Looks like got a little...
Has he got a little cap on him? I reckon.
Plastic cap.
Plastic cap. You got it?
Yep.
Let's have a look at the plastic cap while you get on with that. Oh. Right, so here we go, here's the plastic cap. That's the little plastic cap that covers the bolt, and he's the 16mm again, I'm hoping.
16 again, but this time it's a nut.
Oh, it's a nut. Okay, so it's a nut cover, not a bolt cover. There we go, so we've got a little flange. The one, he's got one of those little tricky anti-loss sort of washer things on him. Right, with that done, we'll come back, we'll let Ian finish that, and then we'll have a go at lifting the seat out. Right, safety first. We're going to mess with airbags now and seats, so let's get that battery undone. So I'm removing the negative terminal. People get really upset when I remove it, and you want to put it somewhere where it's not going to accidentally pop back on. Right, that was a little 10mm socket, was it? Was it 12?
Yeah,
10mm socket. Disconnect the negative on your battery in the corner there. Oh, if I point it in the right place without... Right. Good, good, good. Right, now the seat. Now, good news, we're up £1. How much are we up? Look at that, we're up £1.40. Old money though. Yeah, Ian's saying it must be some old sort of currency.
It's an old pound.
From before Ian was born, that is, apparently. Right. Okay, so then the seat actually will topple back on its own, all accord. And then we got some cool connectors we got to look at under here. So we've got this monster big yellow plug, which is quite similar to what we've seen on a BMW Mini. So I think that's a sort of BMW spec multi-monster plug. We'll work out how to look at that. And the only other wire I can see going to it is this one here. Now I think this is for the entertainment, because our car's super flash and it's got the rear screens in it. So we've got to work out how to disconnect that. I can't see. You have a go in?
I should just unplug, I believe.
I can't believe it's that. Look at that. What? Oh, you've just unclipped it off the seat. Has it got a little pressy thing on it?
Yeah, so round underneath there's a little...
The little release,
little press button,
little pressy thing. Let's just have a look at that connector. So this is the one that we think does the stereo, the entertainment system.
That's the same style as the one that's on the entertainment.
Yeah.
On the top end.
Right. Whee.
And then this one should be...
Oh, let me have a look. We're looking at the right thing. Right, do you reckon that's got some little Ian's rooting in the tool drawers?
If you get a flathead screwdriver in the end.
Oh, that looks trick.
Slide the end out.
You can show us that when it comes out. There we go. So where did you get the screwdriver? Ah, yeah.
So it's that.
There's that little thing, yeah.
You can see that there.
Yeah.
There's a little channel for it.
Yeah.
And you slide the black section out till it clicks, all the way till it clicks. Then it will just pop straight out for you.
So there we go. So that's the seat. Right, how heavy do you reckon that seat is, Ian? I reckon that is heavy. These seats are always monstrous.
Going out back or front?
I think you're going to have to go out the front door. Don't do your back. Watch my upholstery.
Could have put the headrest up before you go.
Put the headrest up or down? Oh, yeah, if you tilt the seat forward. Oh, look at that. He's hugging it like he loves it. Right, where are we going to put that? Right, so that is the rear seat removed.
Front seat removed.
And we'll work out which is the heating circuit, and we'll do a resistance check to tell you what is the correct resistance. So we've wrestled the seat out of the car, and we've put it here, and we're going to have a look at some things. We've taken the back off, and you can do the video, Ian, pointing where we show how to take the back off.
So, but basically it's just 2 bolts on the bottom edge here, and then just pop it off. It's real simple, just to get that one off. Oh, and there's 2 hooks,
there's like little clips
2 little
that
elasticated straps that come around underneath. Take the straps off, take the bolts out, pop it off. Very simple.
But we'll get to that in a second. So basically, this is the connector where it's all happening. You can see all the motors and stuff, but this is the one where we've unplugged it from the seat. Now it's got these tricky little things here. If you push these little yellow bits, it's hard to do it and see. But
2 little like arrowheads, aren't they? You squeeze them in,
and then you see that. That's a clever little bit of design. No, I haven't actually done this. So that gives us a bit of leeway. And now what we've got to do is get this black bit off. Which way is it sliding?
So
again,
there's little arrowheads there, one each side. So there's one opposite it as well.
That's it. I got it.
Two-handed
job. I got it.
And then slide towards them.
And that releases this. And it's a dead clever connector these BMW guys have thought about. Now the one where it's all happening is this, not the big fat one, not these other 2. It's this little one here.
The far end one, isn't it?
And you can just pull that out. Right, now
then we're done with this section.
Done with that. Right, and this is where it's all happening. Okay, so we've got a green wire, and we've got the 2 black wires going into one and a red. And if you flip it over and just have a little look, you'll see the green wire goes to that tiny pin.
You can barely see it.
You can barely see it. And then it's got the 2 fat pins, so obviously the power's going through the 2 fat pins. Now, the heating pads, and the heating pad, this isn't a Land Rover heating pad, but it's typically something like this. So it's obviously a fabric, and you can see you've got the wires come, and the wire gets hot. You got that? And basically you'll have it's basically just power and earth. Right, so what have we got here? So basically we've got heating pads in the base, heating pads in the top, and the wires that you can see here, the wires where they go. We can unravel that. And so basically there's a series of wires, and what it's doing is right, the green and one of the blacks is actually a temperature sensor. So that's why it's the thin one, and that's sensing the temperature. And what it does, obviously, it gives full power till you get up to temperature. And the manual says
37 to 44 degrees C.
So that's what it should be. So, and obviously, as it starts to get to 30, it starts slowing down the power. It reduces the voltage to do that, and it regulates it. Now, the heating pads are all in series. So the way to describe that is like the old Christmas tree lights, where one bulb goes, all the things go. So it goes into here, through one heating, then into the back, through the other heating, and then back round again. And I've drawn it as best I can here. Right, so this is my best technical drawing here. So you've got the back seat with the headrest, you've got the base, and there seems to be 2 heating pads. I haven't taken the seat apart, but judging by the number of connectors, there's 2 heating pads in the base and 1 in the back. The power comes in on the red, through one connector here, through the red one, and then it goes back out into the orange. We've drawn it here, goes around that one, then it goes out of the orange into the connector for the back, goes through the back.
These colours aren't accurate for what colours the wires are.
They're for stylistic purposes, and then it comes back. These colours are right here. So that's how it works. Now, what we've got to do then, right, so we've got a problem, so let's check. Now, basically, it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be the sensor's gone out of kilter, so you can see the sensor is this black and green here. Now, we'll show you what that should read. So it's either that that's gone wrong, and the seat doesn't know what's happening because it can't see the temperature. Basically, someone's poked its eyes out. Or it's a failure in this heating circuit. I'm reading online, the biggest problem actually seems to be the wire that goes from the base up to the top, because at some point there's a wire going from the base to the top and back again actually, and it's the wire that seems, because that's moving as you fold the seat, that seems to be the problem. The pads generally seem okay. Right, my seat's all good and lush. Okay for me. Right, basic testing, fault finding, multimeter. We're going to go on to the ohms. Right, and we are going to test these two pins in here, these two big fat ones. Right, let's put it on that bottom one there. Ian's much better at this. Right, here we go. What we got in? Oh, if I can hold it steady. Right, so we've got 4 ohms. And notice there's not a K ohm or a mega ohm, it's just 1.4 ohms. So that's a low resistance. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. And that, mine works, so that should be about what you get. You should be pretty close to that. Now if I emulate a fault by unplugging one of the connectors, oh, where are those connectors?
So once you've taken the back off, it exposes this connector here, which we think is the back heating pad.
And are these, yeah,
this
are
is
weird, aren't they? Yeah, you've got to squeeze them at this end and then
and pull apart. To expose the base heating pad, you've got this black plastic strip which you have to unhook.
Oh gosh, that's close there.
It's quite tight.
Oh my goodness me.
Might need a small screwdriver or something.
Yeah, I'll see if I can do it with my bare hands. There we go. There we go. So that's just one of those little...
That'll pop out and you'll get 2 more of the same style clips underneath. One for each of the base heating pads.
And what we can do is check these... Oh, you got it? Oh, that's it, right.
Okay.
So we can also check those. So if you had an open circuit, if you didn't have your 1 point, but you can work out which one it is. Now, so this one goes into the seat, so this one should have something.
So again, we're just going resistance across 0.2.
2, okay, so that one's good.
So on the base ones, we're checking the female connector.
Yeah.
So is that connector there? So again, 0.2.
Right, so that's what you should be reading.
And then on the
third
back one, you have to check the male connector.
So not that one.
So that's what we mean by female. That's what
male.
we mean by male.
We don't need to turn into a family planning lesson. Right, what we got going on here?
We haven't asked which gender they identify
No.
as. 0.6. 0.6 we've got on that one.
Okay, so based on my seat and 1, you're looking for those sort of values. So that's the 3 plugs you're testing. That's how to do it. Right, last thing, your sensor. So basically your sensor is between the black, which are joined together, and in fact is an even better way to probe it than I was trying to do before. So let's go between the black there. I'm trying to do it so you can see it as well. Right, the black there and the green. Okay, now it should be about 12K. Notice the K, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a K on the end there, okay, which stands for kilo, which is 1,000. So that's 12,000 ohms. So you should be, now that will change depending how hot you are. So those of you lucky enough to be in the Bahamas, that's going to be either higher or lower, probably lower as you get hotter. But it should be around there, 10 to 14. If it's anything wildly different to that, you've probably got a problem with the sensor. So having tested the sensor, I'm not going to do the video now, but basically if you then know what's wrong, you can then look at pulling off your upholstery and looking at your seat base, checking the wires going to it, but that should help you on the way to working out what's wrong with your heating, hopefully.